Good morning, my dear students. So the next lesson or the next topic that I am going to discuss to you is on the tools of psychological assessment. As we all know, we cannot undergo psychological assessment, or the administrator or the assessor cannot undergo psychological assessment with his client when there are no tools for him to use in order to assess his client. Okay? So you will see the different tools utilized in psychological assessment. And what are these? We have first test. So as you can see on your screen, a test is defined simply as a measuring device or a procedure. When we say measuring device, it can be in the form of a psychological test, which is paper and pencil, a measuring device or a procedure. It would actually utilize different apparatuses where the administrator will tell his client to manipulate objects, to fit objects, or to do something in order for him to be tested of the time that he has performed this task, which the administrator told him to do. So it is not just the paper and pencil psychological test, but also because a test involves procedures, this can also be in the form of different apparatuses. I would also like to cite an example, an individual intelligence test, which is the Wechsler Intelligence Scale. And this has performance subscales. And performance subscales would entail the client or the assessee to be manipulating objects. To be manipulating objects. So that is the reason why a psychological test or a test in general would involve procedures, right? So you can also see there a more formal definition of a test in the context of psychology, and we actually call it psychological test, which refers to a device or procedure designed to measure variables related to psychology. I think you're all aware of the different psychology-related variables. Okay, in psychology, you name the different constructs or variables. We actually have it. Okay, and a psychological test almost always involves analysis of a sample of behavior. So when you say it involves analysis of a sample of behavior, a test may be considered as the most powerful tool in evaluating behaviors of human beings. It can only be used, okay, to analyze a sample of behavior. So it cannot measure all, no, the behavior of a person. For example, you have this test or you have this tool measuring the personality traits of an individual. It will only give you an idea as to what is the personality trait of this individual. Does it belong to, for example, a low level of neuroticism, a high level of aggression, or a high level of agreeableness? So it is only a sample of behavior. Dahil pag sama-samahin nyo man lahat ng psychological test na meron kayo, as an assessor, wala kang magagawa kundi pagtagpi-tagpiin yung na measure ng bawat psychological test na binigay mo sa iyong kliyente para makapagbuo ka ng analysis or a report of that assessment that you have given to the clientele, and you will be able to make some recommendations in the end. Okay, so there is actually a limitation of every test. So kahit na 1,000 items pa ang andyan sa intelligence test na yan, sample lang of the intelligence aspect which the test measured ang kaya niyang ibigay. And it is in the wit or expertise of the assessor that could give you a hint as to how the person would go through, for example, his academics. Kasi nga intelligence test ang binigay mo sa kanya. Or how would this person be able to perform in the course that he enrolled in. Okay. From sample of behavior, makakagawa ang isang assessor ng kanyang analysis. Okay? Pero nililinaw ko, ang test, sabihin mo mang pinaka-reliable, pinaka-valid, lahat na ng mga items involving the measurement of IQ ay nasa kanya, still sample of behavior pa rin ang pwede niyang ibigay sa iyo. Okay? Next. Now, tests differ in terms of content, format, administration procedures, scoring, and interpretation. So let us try to see what does it mean by a test content. At dito daw din magkakaiba-iba ang bawat psychological test. Content means subject matter. Ano ba yung focus of a test? While there are a lot of personality tests, okay, that is being used, these personality tests still differ from each other. Why? Because it depends on the focus of these tests. While when there is a personality test that measures on personality traits, we are made to understand that only personality traits are being measured by that test because that is its intended focus. And there is also what we call a test of personality type. It will only give you a measure of personality type and not personality traits. Basically because that is the intended focus. Okay? So we call that the subject matter or the content of the test. For example, kapag kayo ay nagtitake ng final exam, ang dami yung subjects, hindi ba? So, sa psychology, halimbawa, you have abnormal psychology, you also have psychological assessment, you also have Filipino psychology, okay? You also have psychological statistics. All of these subjects that I mentioned, even if they are all psychology subjects, each of these subjects, it has a certain focus, okay, or has a certain area or aspect that it measures. Okay? How about format? How do tests differ in terms of format? It pertains to the form, to the plan, to the structure, arrangement, and layout of the test items. Okay, and layout of the test items. When we talk of form, okay, it means, is this test a computerized test so that it needs the manipulation or the use, I should say, of a computer in responding to the items of the test? Or is it a pencil and paper test? So We use that means the difference in terms of the form of a test. Next is on administration procedures. Ito yung sinabi ko noon sa inyo na meron tayong tinatawag na single, individual testing, and group testing. Is it one-to-one basis, and that is individual testing, or administration to groups, or yung group testing na sinasabi? Another, in terms of interpretation, scoring, I should say, and interpretation procedures. So when you say scoring, this is the checking first of the answer sheets, or shall I say the answers or responses of the assessee. After taking the test, ano ba ang kabuluhan kasi ng test na ito? Ganun din kapag kayo ay nag-take ng quiz o kaya ng major exam. Because the very goal ng mga test takers or ng mga assessee is to know ano ba ang nangyari sa kanila? How did they perform in that particular test? And the very first thing that they're excited about is their score. And that is what you call scoring first the test and then eventually giving interpretation so that you know the essential of the test which you have undergone. Okay? So we have a concept here called the score. So yan naman ang basic na information for any psychological test or a psychological procedure that you have undergone. Di ba? Dahil walang silbi ang test na pinagdaanan mo kapag wala namang resulta. So katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, that is one thing that you are most excited about. Why? Because it will tell you how you have performed in this particular subject or in this particular psychological test that you have taken. So a score is a code or summary statement that reflects an evaluation of performance on a test, task, interview, or some other sample of behavior. So when you say it's a code, okay, if it's 100 items and you got 50, and then the interpretation is average, and then you know more or less that you have an average, you perform in an average level with this particular test. Okay, with this particular test. And without the score that you get from a psychological test, there is nothing to interpret. There is nothing to report. Okay? There is nothing to talk about the sample of behavior. That is the most special result of a psychological test. Okay? So very important yung scores class. At in any psychological test, meron siyang proper scoring at meron siyang proper interpretation procedures. Hindi magkakagaya ang scoring at interpretation procedures ng bawat psychological test na tinitake mo. Okay? And then, there is another term also that is very important here. When you say scoring, it's different from score, definitely. Scoring is actually a process of assigning evaluative codes or statements to performance on tests, tasks, interviews, or other behavior samples. And when you take a look at the word process there, it entails a rigorous job on the person doing the process or the procedure of scoring. Kasi kapag ka nagkamali, no, si assessor sa pagbibigay ng score sa'yo o sa pag-check niya, mali-mali later on ang analysis niya of that sample of behavior being tested by the test. Okay? Being tested by the test. Right? And then another important concept pagdating sa scoring and interpretation procedure is what we call no? The cut score or yung cut-off score or yung cut-off, magkakagaya lang lahat ng mga terminologies na yun. When we say cut score, cut-off score, or cut-off, it refers to reference point. And it is usually numerical. It is derived by judgment and used to divide a set of data into two or more classifications. Usually, tinatanong niya sa akin, Ma'am, ano pong cut-off score niyo? And I would tell you, it's 50% of the items. That alone will give you an idea that when your score is under, no, the 50% cut-off that I told you, kakabahan ka na. But when your score is above the cut-off score that I told you, matutuwa ka. Sasabihin mo, pasado ako. Pasado ako. O kaya, it's far, far above the cut-off score, you will say, I'm a genius. Ang galing ko talaga. Dahil kuhang-kuha ko yung mga pinatest ni ma'am sa akin o ni sir sa akin. So cut score, cut-off score, or cut-off is a reference point. Because if you do not give a reference point, how will you be able to identify which of your test takers performed, no, below or beyond the reference point? How will you be able to say na hindi ka nag-perform ng mabuti or sobrang galing mo dahil ang taas-taas ng grado mo? So that is the importance of setting a cut score, a cut-off score, or a cut-off. And in any psychological test, especially objective psychological tests, talagang magbibigay ang mga yan ng cut score. Because that is now the basis, no, of how you will be able to interpret the scores of your test takers. And also, some tests are self-scored. Okay? Ano usually ang mga test na self-scored? Though hindi ito psychological test. Yung inyong mga quizzes. Okay? Iba nga lang yung nag-check, yung kaklase nyo ang nag-check o yung katabi nyo ang nag-check, okay, to ensure that it is being checked correctly, walang bias, okay, na mahahalo dahil yan naman po ay, ang kalalabasan niyan ay ang magiging grade nyo, diba, sa isang subject. Or pag sinabing self-scored in the parlance of psychology or specifically sa psychological assessment, pwede ang assessee mo, pwede mong sabihin, you can score, okay, this test of yours. Alright? You can score this test of yours through the administrator's guidance. Through the administrator's guidance. Okay? Because the test administrator will tell you how to score it. But you know what, class? Not all tests can be self-scored. Okay? There are certain qualifications of a test. No? When to score it all by yourself as a test taker, okay, okay, I have to share my screen again. Something went wrong with my internet connection. All right. So where was I? Okay. All right. So as I was saying, scoring of psychological tests also differ from one another because there is what we call certain expertise or requirement, okay, from an individual to be able to either check the test all by himself, or to be guided by an expert or the administrator, or there are tests which are being scored by psychometrician or psychologists or experts for that matter. And then um, there are tests that are computer scored, right? That is possible, especially if the test also um, required the assessee to take the test um, through the use of computer, But there are tests which are computer scored, not necessarily when the test takers had taken the test, the computer din ang kanilang ginamit. To ease checking, that is the very reason kung bakit computer scored. Because if a test is given simultaneously to groups, and we mean hundreds of test takers or thousands of test takers, computer scoring would give an ease, no, to administrators, okay, or to checkers when answer sheets can be scored using the computer. And another is it's scored by trained examiners. Ito yung sinasabi ko din sa inyo kanina. Right? Next. Okay. A test also, speaking of still this tool, which is a test, it is essential that the psychometric soundness or its technical quality must be looked into by an administrator. The administrator should not just be contented on looking at the test as something that is valid. Yan yung tinatawag nilang meron itong face validity. But all its psychometric properties must be looked into. So, ganun kasi katindi ang isang assessor. So, lahat ng yan, kailangan meron siyang alam pagdating sa mga psychological tests na ginagamit niya. So, what do we mean by psychometric soundness or technical quality? This refers to how consistently and how accurately a psychological test measures what it purports to measure. So when we say psychometric soundness or technical quality, ito yung mga characteristics ng test na binibigay mo sa mga clienteles mo that you are very confident as an expert, no, giving this test, that it will give you a quality result. Quality in the sense that you are being able to measure what you want to know from the person. Basically because the test alone possesses technical quality. Ano ba tong technical quality na to? Ano ba tong psychometric soundness na ito? I would say, for example, one psychometric property as reliability. When you say a test is reliable, and all tests must be reliable, psychological tests for that matter, it means that it has internal consistency. When you say internal consistency, kapag ka ang test na ito ay binigay mo sa isang individual ngayon, and then after some time, ibibigay mo uli sa kanya, dapat similar pa rin yung makukuha niyang resulta. So that is what is meant by consistency. Hindi consistent ang psychological test kapag you gave this test today to your assessee, and then after a week, you're giving it again to your same assessee. Magtataka ka, biglang sobrang taas niya doon sa pinaka or sa latest na test. Pagkatapos, dito sa unang test niya, sumemplang siya. So there is what you call discrepancy of the performance based on what the test results have shown. And in that way, questionable ang kanyang psychometric sound test. Because a psychological test must possess reliability. It must possess reliability. Another psychometric property of a test is yung tinatawag nilang validity. Kanina I mentioned about face validity, but that is not a true measure of validity. When you say face validity kasi, yung bang tipong on the part of the test administrator, sasabihin niya, wait, okay ito based on the title alone of the psychological test. And eventually, he looks into the table of contents siguro nung psychological test na yan, nung bumibili siya ng psychological test. Tapos nakita niya, wow, ang galing. Kasi pinakita dito lahat kung ano yung nature of test, anong pinagdaanan niyang norming, anong pinagdaanan niyang validation process, reliability testing, so forth and so on. So hanggang dun lang yung idea niya. Because ang nakita lang niya ay yung face or yung cover ng psychological test, nabighani lang siya sa kung paano ito pinackage, and then konting booklet niya doon sa table of contents ng manual ng test, sasabihin niya, I think this test is valid. However, specifically, yung binanggit niya is just face validity. But when you say a test is valid in its real sense, my dear students, a test is valid because it really measures what it purports to measure na sinasabi. Ang sarap ng i-memorize di ba? Validity means the test measures what it purports to measure. Ibig lamang sabihin, kapag yan ay sinabi mong intelligence test at verbal test lang yan, siguraduhin mo na ang palalabasin niya ay ang verbal intelligence ng tao. Okay? Hindi yung intelligence test, tapos verbal aspect lang ang mineasure niya, tapos biglang sasabihin niya sa'yo, neurotic yung tao. Definitely, that is not valid because neuroticism is there's another way to measure neuroticism. It's not being measured in the psychological test, which you claim to be measuring verbal intelligence or verbal ability. Do you get the point? Like, that's validity. You are claiming that this test measures sociability. And then all of a sudden, biglang ang resulta ay um, meron siyang uh, cognitive issues or cognitive condition, which is too far from the very focus of the test. In that way, the test is not valid. In other words, a test is valid when you look at the contents of the test and then you look at what it really measures. And then when you see the result, okay, of the test taker's responses, makikita mo na swak talaga doon sa mini-measure ng test. And that is what we mean by a valid test or the concept of validity of test. And you can see there psychometry or psychometrics. It's an old term, actually. It's a traditional term. However, it is still being used. It's the science of psychological measurement. Kaya tinawag na psychometry or psychometrics, science of psychological assessment because you are measuring something and you are claiming that a certain psychology-related variable does exist. And it can be measured. That is the reason why when you talk of psychometric soundness or technical quality, it is subsumed under the concept or the idea that psychological assessment is all about psychometrics or psychometry. It's because it is scientifically undertaken by an administrator and a test and a test taker or an assessor. Right? And then we also have, under psychometric soundness or technical quality, the concept of psychometric utility. Utility is ano bang gamit niyan, 'di ba? And so napakalinaw na nakikita nyo, it's the usefulness or practical value that a test or other tool of assessment has for a particular purpose. Hindi yung gumawa ka ng test kapag ka ikaw ay isang test developer, sige, basta kasi gusto ko lang na mabili itong test ko na to. You should put in mind, you are making a test because you want to measure something. And when you are able to measure that something, you are confident, no, that the result will be able to help an assessee or a test taker know of his performance, maybe know of his uh, know of any of the psychological aspects wherein he was being tested. So it all boils down to, what is the practical value of this test? Why are you taking it? Why are you taking it? For example, no, why is there such a test called conflict management styles? And you're going to give this among leaders. Among leaders. Anong value nun kapag tinake ng mga leaders ang conflict management styles? Well, ang value niya would be knowing what style of conflict management you have, okay, would at least tell you na these are the strengths and limitations pala of the conflict management, okay, that you practice, in your leadership, halimbawa leader nga ito, leader nga ibinigay, so confrontation pala yung style ng conflict management ko. And nasabi sa akin ng assessor ko na napakataas ang paggamit ko ng confrontation. And I have to consider the people around me, especially those from the grassroots, na it should not always be confrontation. It should be coupled with, well, all of the different characteristics ng ibang conflict management style na magaganda, base sa nature ng people that you are manning or that you are authorizing, for example, to do the jobs in the organization where you live. So the practical value alone. Ano naman ang maibibigay niya sa akin kapag ka nag-take ako ng tinatawag na suicidal ideation test. Halimbawa, yun yung title ng test na binigay sa inyo. Sasabihin naman ng administrator yan na we are not measuring your suicidal tendencies, but we are just measuring if you have suicidal thoughts. Because if you have if you have suicidal thoughts or suicidal ideation, because if you are very high in this, yung bang tipong ganon, well, the school already has established programs on how to help students having high suicidal ideation to get rid of this morbid thoughts. Yung tipong ganon. So, merong purpose talaga yung test na yun. So, that is psychometric utility. Now, the next one is interview. Okay. So what is interview? This is another tool. Okay. And as you can see, it typically involves more than talk. Because what we know about interview is we just keep on answering what the interviewer would ask. Okay. Or you make some chika-chika. But it's more than the chika. It's more than the talk that you are doing with the interviewer. Okay. So the interviewer is taking note of both verbal and non-verbal behavior, because in psychological assessment, all of these are also important. And these are important to take note when you do the psychological report already of the person that you are trying to assess. Okay. So, body language, for example, mga non-verbal behavior yan, movements, facial expressions, extent of eye contact, the willingness to cooperate. Makikita mo naman kapag ang assessee mo, willing siya na makikooperate every time you ask question to him or her. Biglang sasabihin niya sa'yo, excuse me, may I go out for necessity? Umiiwas pala siya. And then every time you ask questions which are too personal for him, makikita mo yung willingness niya or yung unwillingness niya na gawin or sagutin yung itatanong mo sa kanya. The general reaction, nagulat ba siya nung tinatanong mo ito? And how the interviewee is dressed. Okay. How the interviewee is dressed. Okay. So, based on all of these, bakit ba napakahalaga kung paano ba nakadressed ang isang interviewee kapag ini-interview siya? Because it gives you somehow an idea of the general condition of the individual. Kasi kapag makita mong parang ano ba yung ginamit niya? Nagmadali siya. So kapag nagmadali ito, ibig sabihin, hindi siya ready for the interview. Ibig sabihin, yung mga sasabihin niya sa akin ay mukhang magmamadali din siya ng pag-iisip tungkol dito. Or baka mangyayaring nag-intellectualize siya sa mga magiging sagot niya. Yung man tipong ganun. Diba? At kapag ang ini-interview mo, makikita mong gusgusin, so something must be wrong. Kasi if you have set an interview with this person, at least prepared siya sana. Pero along the way siguro, when she came to you for interview, something happened. And that you have to know. Saan? Sa interview. It's something that is done, if it's done face-to-face, you are able to ask right away, no, from your interviewee, what could have been wrong. Tapos magtataka siya, anong wrong ang sinasabi nitong interviewer nito? Sabihin mo na agad, I noticed that seemingly you are not prepared. Are you? Mga tipong ganun. So, tanungin mo na sa kanya. And the affirmations or confirmations must come from the interviewee. So, hindi basta-basta ang interview, my dear students. You, as an assessor, must be skillful enough to conduct the interview with your client. Because if you are full, you do not know what to ask. You do not know how to start the interview. You do not know what to take note, no? From your interviewee. Anong ilalagay mo sa assessment mo? Anong ilalagay mo sa report mo or analysis mo of the things or of the data that you were able to gather? Okay? Now, an interview can take the form of face-to-face, katulad ng sinabi ko sa inyo. It can also take the form, it can also take place, no, through telephone conversation. So, kapag ang interview is through telephone, you have to take note of the voice pitch of the interviewee. Bakit? Kasi, galit siya. Hindi ba kapag napakataas ng boses ng taong to, mararamdaman mo O kaya, madalas sinasabi natin, oo nga, nagsasabi ka. Kaya lang, maganda yung sinasabi mo, pero hindi maganda yung pagkasabi. So, tipong galit ka. So, hindi maayos yung pagtanggap. Ganon din si interviewer. Kailangan, i-take note niya yun. Bakit? Kasi, sobrang high tone yung aking interviewee. And at that time na interview ko siya, he was not, I think he is not in his proper condition. Okay? Or meron pala siyang kagalit habang ini-interview ko siya. Or pwedeng, bakit kaya long pauses? No? May long pauses ang aking interviewee. So siguro may problema at napakatagal niyang mag-process ng mga tanong mo O baka pwedeng naglo-long pause siya para hindi siya magkamali sa isasagot niya sa'yo. So these are all ways to know how authentic, no, are the answers or responses of your interviewee to you as an assessor. Okay? At makakakita ka rin ng signs of emotion in response. Garalgal ba ang boses niya? Okay? Nanginginig-nginig ba siya? Masyado ba siyang mabilis magsalita? Ayaw ba niyang magpa-interact sa'yo? All of these, no, must be noted by an interviewer. And interviews can also take the form of online. No? So kaya meron tayong tinatawag na online interviews. Katulad nito, halimbawa gusto ko kayong interviewin, ang makikita mo ay ang mukha ko, kapag ka ikaw ay ang aking assessee, at ang makikita ko rin ay ang iyong mukha. Email interviews, okay, that is possible, and text messaging. Literally, from all of these na iba't ibang forms of interview. So, napakadaling intindihin. But, there are certain considerations, no, which an interviewer must put in mind when the interview is going on, as well as I have told you, it requires certain skill. Okay? And then the next one is, it's a method of gathering information through direct communication involving reciprocal exchange. Direct communication, because you are actually communicating or talking with your interviewee. I am referring to the interviewer actually communicating with his interviewee. And it involves reciprocal exchange because when I ask something as the interviewer, I expect that my interviewee will also reciprocate by answering my questions. So that is what we call reciprocal exchange of what? Of information. But the very person which has a more tedious job during the interview is the interviewer. You should know how to conduct the interview. You should know how to make follow-up questions so that vital information from your interviewee will be collected or will be gathered. Okay? So, just like the test a while ago, the psychological test a while ago, interview also differs in purpose, length, and nature. So, ano-ano ang iba't ibang klase ng interview? Well, as you can see, we have what we call panel interview or yung tinatawag na board interview. So, this is used by professionals in human resources, especially when there is what you call panel interview of their new recruits, okay, or of their applicants, I should say. It's more than one interviewer, who participates in the assessment. Kaya tinawag na panel or board interview because it involves many interviewers. Many interviewers. And then there is what we call an idea, which is motivational interviewing. Motivational interviewing. And this must be a skill of those who are in the clinics or those who are conducting counseling therapies. Okay. So motivational interviewing is usually done or is usually practiced, I should say, in clinical and counseling therapies. it's called a therapeutic dialogue. Motivational di ba? Yung pag-i-interview mo, kumbaga. Therapeutic dialogue that combines person-centered listening skills, such as openness and empathy, with the use of cognition altering techniques designed to positively affect motivation and affect therapeutic change. Ang bigat, di ba? Ang bigat ng tinatawag ng motivational interviewing. Okay. So when you say it's a therapeutic dialogue, it means that there is, of course, the presence of an interviewer and interviewee. They are having dialogue or they are having talk with the idea that on the part of the interviewee, nag-uusap pa lang sila, okay? Nag-e-exchange sila ng information together with his interviewer. On his part, it's already a therapy, no, to him. Bakit? Because this interviewer of mine, I believe, is empathetically listening to me. Somebody's listening pala to me. Okay? So, that is the reason why, as an interviewee, marunong itong interviewer ko na to. Naramdam ko na nakikinig siya sa akin, and therefore, I will be open to this person. And maganda, because the moment na nag-o-open ang interviewee mo sa'yo, na interviewer, eto na yung papasukan mo na siya ng tinatawag na cognition altering techniques. When you say cognition altering techniques, kapag ka ang interviewee mo ay tipong napakahirap niyang pasukan, gawa ng kung ano yung idea niya, yun ang gusto niyang masunod, yun lang ang rason niya, hindi na pwedeng baguhin, black is black sa kanya, white is white sa kanya. But then eventually nagiging open na siya because of the skill of the interviewer, no, na mag-facilitate ng tinatawag na rapport with the interviewee, pwede na niyang baguhin little by little, no, yung line of thinking ng tao niya. So that is what we call cognition altering techniques. Well, you cannot do that if you are just an interviewer na dahil alam mo lang mag-interview. Okay? There is a psychology behind doing the cognitive altering techniques. You must remember that. Skill yan ng isang assessor, ng psychological assessor. Why? Because yung cognition altering techniques, designed siya to positively affect motivation. Okay? When you say affect motivation, para bang maeengganyo. You are successful in letting your interviewee engage with you. And what does it mean by he engages with you? Gusto na niya. No? So, bawat question na binabato mo sa kanya, motivated siya to answer it. And motivated in the sense that this interviewee is now telling the truth. Parang it's already beyond just making rationalization, no, of what he is saying. Because at first ganon ang interviewee, halimbawa. Pero eventually there is what you call change. No? Change. Kasi positively naapektuhan na yung kanyang motivation dahil sa ginawa ng interviewer niya na yan sa kanya. And then, after that, nagkaroon ng tinatawag na therapeutic change. Pag sinabing therapeutic change, there is what you call a behavioral change in that person. From ni hindi mo siya mapagsalita sa gustong-gusto na niyang magkwento, hindi mo pa siya tinatanong, i-open na niya sa'yo, sasabihin na niya sa'yo. And that is the result of what you call motivational interviewing. Okay. Motivational interviewing. So, may I end here first? And then I will continue with my next recording.